Hey guys, let me take these glasses off. I am so glad that you're here. I just got back from the gym and I am ready to have a good conversation with you while we sit in our village. Just sit back and relax and let's talk about it. Hey guys, listen, I want you to understand one thing, and I'm glad that you're here, and I want to make sure that you are aware of the things that are happening in our community, the things that that haunts us, the things that stays over our shoulders and sometimes get in our head and lives there. We're going to be talking about today mental health and why it is so important for our community. And because you're sitting here and listening to me, that tells me one thing, that you're really concerned. Okay? So listen, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be diving into mental health for Black people right here in Lee County, just right here. So grab a seat, get comfortable. Let's talk for a few minutes. If we don't take care of what's going on in our minds, if we don't take care of what's going on with our thoughts, it's going to affect our actions. It's going to affect our feelings, our relationships, and even our job. Our mental health is the core of our being. And if we neglect it, it impacts everything in our lives, from our families, our kids, our kinfolk. If we don't take care of ourselves mentally, it becomes nearly impossible to take care of ourselves physically, mentally, socially, financially. Very crucial that we talk about this. Our job wages and mental health, they go hand in hand. Now let's talk about something that connects you directly to mental health. Your job wages. Now you're wondering, well, what does that have to do with anything being mentally stable? Well, I tell you this, when the money is funny, everything else feels off. When you don't have your coins in the right pocket, it affects your peace, your confidence, your stability. Let me tell you this, growing up, my father never talked about how much he made, or he never shared with the family about his bonuses or how much it cost to run the family. Talking about money was almost like it was taboo. And while I know he didn't mean anything about it or from it, he didn't mean it in a bad way, it created a barrier in our communication. So now I talk to my own family. I'm making a point that I talk openly about money because they need to know what the cost of living is, how much the cost of bread, eggs, and how money plays a role in making our household function. But when we don't talk about it, we're not preparing the next generation. I remember I was 18, maybe 19 years old, and I got my first credit card. Oh man, I thought I was rich. I thought it was free money. I did. I literally thought it was free money, but no one talked to me about credit and how to manage it. And as a result, I ended up paying for that later on in life, dealing with a poor credit score. And I didn't know how to manage money, and I wasn't prepared for the consequences. So, I mean, you talk about having all this debt hanging over you and knowing that the bill collectors are calling you time after time and you avoiding them. You know what I'm talking about. So mentally that wears on you. So the impact of a financial strain and the mental health, that's a real thing. This financial stress messes with our mental health. Many of us avoid even going to the bank, applying for loans, because we're afraid. of being rejected. I know what that feeling is. The shame, the fear of the failure, it affects us deeply. Financial stress can damage our self-esteem. It can keep us stuck in cycles that are hard to break. But now think about how Lee County is growing by leaps and bounds. How houses are being built every day. But for many of us in our community, the cost of living is rising faster than our wages. Homes that are decent now, they cost in the mid 300K. And if you want a nice one, you're looking at $500,000. $500,000 right here in Lee County. But for someone that is making $13 an hour, that feels like an impossible gap to be able to reach to being a homeowner. And so that weighs on our mental health. And the strain of the racial and economic barriers, it is not just about the wages. Many of us, it's the jobs as well. We don't get the best jobs. And even when we do get hired, we are often paid less than our coworkers for doing the same work. Let that sink in right there. And when you speak up, we are reminded that we are replaceable. And sometimes it's not even reminded by a boss or manager. It's in our head. We are replaceable. That is a mental burden. Then, when we look around and we see younger people from different races getting ahead, affording homes and cars, while we're stuck trying to make ends meet. Oh man, that is frustration in its rare form. And you feel like you're working harder but getting less. And this all impacts your mental health. You're doing everything right, but still feeling left behind. The mental health of commuting and family, let's talk about how that affects you. This takes a physical toll on you. Now, if you're traveling an hour to get to work, now think about this. That's 2 hours a day just on the road alone. Just on the road alone, that's 2 hours a day. And you're spending 10 hours a week commuting. It all adds up. The mental strain of driving all that time just to get to a job that pays you less than you deserve, it all affects your well-being. Now then, when you get home, you're tired just to deal with more stress at home. And for those of us that have families, that's where things even get tougher. You're trying to provide for your family. You're trying to provide for your household, but your mental and physical energy is drained. If I'm talking to you, say something to me. You come home expecting peace, but that's not often what happens. It's not what you find a lot of times. This creates even more stress, and sometimes it spills over into the family dynamic. It's a cycle that takes a toll on all our mental health, and especially Black folk. It is important to understand each other recent. Okay, let me hold. chop. But it's important to understand each other, because now, since we're coming from the strain of the commuting and then getting a job and just getting wages, those are things that we really face and that can stack up on you. I recently came across a clip from a young man, and it was very frustrating because I see it so much, and I see it all the time. I see it daily. Because we have all these mental weights put on our brain, we have created a divide. Two parties, black men against black women. There's a lot of pain there. There's a lot of frustration from both sides. Frustration from black women who feel unsupported. Frustrated black men who feel like they're not treated like they're supposed to be treated in their own homes. And it's hurting all of us, and it's hurting our mental health. The mental health crisis we're talking about isn't just financial, isn't just emotional, it's relational, it's generational. We need to talk more openly about our mental health struggles we're facing. As individuals, as a community, we need to start hearing each other instead of putting each other down. This divide between black men and black women is real, y'all. And it's hurting us both, and not just us, it's hurting our kids. Now I want you to watch this clip here, because this clip, it hit home for me. Watch this. Now, I want you to watch this clip from this young lady here. This hurts me as well. And I feel like, there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. So just check out this. Now, building a support system. What if we had space, a village where we can come together, we can share, we can support each other? What if we had a place where we can vent, just talk, just heal, and just listen to one another? Whether it's through going to the gym and engaging in community events, or just gathering just to talk. We need these spaces to nurture our mental health. Some it's a gym, some it's a church, some it's a therapist. Some is just to talk on the phone to a friend. Call your old friend up. Say, hey, let's talk. In the end, this podcast isn't here to solve all your problems. I can't do that. I'm just here to stir up the conversation. I'm not a therapist. I'm not going to give you all the answer, but I'm here so we can look for some solutions. Some solutions that will help us, help our mental space. And y'all, let's be real. Let's literally be real. There are many of us are going through the same things, but we're scared to talk to each other. We're scared to show ourselves, show our true selves, that we are hurting, that there are a lot of things going on. And it don't help when we have fighting in other areas that's supposed to help us. Or there's instability in areas that's supposed to keep us afloat. Okay? So just check this out. I want you to just to really think about what's going on in your life. Take a moment to reflect on what's going on. Write it down. Put it on a piece of paper. Think about the stress and the struggles and the frustrations and let's talk about it. You're not alone. We're in this together. You're sitting in the village. But check this out. Before I go, think about this. Right here in Lee County, there are still jobs paying $7.25 an hour. And the cost of living is still going up. It's no wonder why people are struggling. But it's time for us to come together, support each other, and keep this conversation going. Thank you for sitting in the village with me today. We're going to keep bringing these subjects on. We're going to keep talking, keep sharing, keep building a better future for our community. All right, I love you. I have no agenda but to keep us together, make sure that we're good. And this closing about the creating a space. Let's create a space where we can talk for real, heal, grow together. Stay tuned for more discussion on mental health, community building, and how we can move forward as a people.